Hi, my name is John Post, and what I want to do today is show you how to make Microsoft Word behave a little bit more like the Apple Works that you're used to when it comes to making classroom newsletters. So the first step is to launch Microsoft Word, and then from the menu choose File, New Blank Document, and this will open a new document for you. We're going to be working with the formatting palette, and the way that you find the formatting palette is you go to View, and then scroll down and it brings up the formatting palette. The formatting palette is the way that you change the appearance of objects in your page. So if I click on this little triangle next to font, it gives me a bunch of options I can change regarding the fonts on this page. The first thing that I want to do in creating a classroom newsletter is show you how to put in pictures. If I go to Insert and I scroll down to the word picture and I choose from File, I can then navigate to any file on my computer, click on it, and insert it. And so now I've got that picture inserted into my document. If I click on this picture, I can then use these little handles that are on the side here, and what I can do is I can resize this image. Corners on any one of these corners will resize things proportionally, keeping the picture's aspect ratio the same. If I choose one of these other handles, it changes only the horizontal or vertical size of an image, and it often distorts it. So if you did that and you want to fix that, the easiest way to back out of it is to press the Command button and then Z, and that's how you undo things in Microsoft Word. It works on more than just pictures. The key thing that I want to talk about, the key feature that makes Microsoft Word like Apple Works, is called formatting. And the way that you find the formatting menu is you click on a picture and you have to be holding the control button at the same time. So I'll click off of the picture so that it's not selected so that I can show you how to control click it. So I'm holding down control and I am clicking on the picture, and then I'm going to go to Format Picture. And then it brings up a dialog box. The tab that I want here is called Layout, so I'm going to choose Layout. And then I'm going to be given a variety of different options for how I'd like this picture to be placed into the layout of my page. The one that we want here is called Tight, so I'm going to choose Tight and choose OK. And so what Tight lets me do is Tight lets me take this picture and grab it and move it anywhere on the page. So that's what I wanted to do there. Now, since we're going to be working with things that are laid out using the Tight Layout option, everything that's on this page needs to be in a text box if it's not a picture. So all text goes in a text box. The way that you get a text box is you go to Insert, scroll down to where you see Text Box. Your cursor changes into a crosshairs and you can just drag and draw one. So here I've drawn a text box. It's got a blinking cursor in it, and so now I can type in my text. And so now I've got a basic text box and it is got some text in it. I'm going to click on the border of the text box and press Control click again so that I can bring up that menu so I can format this text box, and I want this text box to be in the Tight layout again so that I can move it anywhere on the page by grabbing the shaded area and just dragging it wherever I'd like it. So that's how I can move a text box around. To format this text in here, I double click on all of it. If I come over here, I can change the font right in this menu. And so I could change the size of the font, and so I'm going to try this font at 22. Not nearly big enough for how I'd like it, so I'm going to make it even larger at, say, 36. That seems pretty reasonable. And I can also change the color, so I'm going to make this font green. And so when I click any place on the blank page, I can see my results. Now, I don't really like the way that this box looks around the heading of this page, and so I can resize this box like this. If I would like to make this text all in the center, I can double click to select all of it again. And then if I go to Alignment and Shading in the Formatting palette, and right here where it says Horizontal, if I choose Center, now my text is centered in the box. If I wish to get rid of this box look entirely, I can click on the text box, and then right here where it says Colors, Weights, and Fills in the Formatting palette, there's a section called Line. If I choose the color section in Line, there is an option called No Line. And so I select that. And so now that line has disappeared. So now I have text that appears to just be floating on the page, but I can click anywhere on the text, the gray frame around it shows up, and if I hold my mouse over that, I can now drag this text anywhere that I want on the page. So that's the beauty of text boxes. The next thing that I want to talk about is how to get a calendar on your page. Same process. I'm going to go to Insert, Text Box, and the cursor changing to a crosshairs, and so I'm going to draw a large calendar text box. I've got the blinking cursor, and even though they call this a text box, you can put other things into here, so I'm going to put a table in. So I'm going to go to Table, Insert, and I'm going to select on Table, and then I want 5 columns for 5 days of the week and 2 rows so that I can have information in each of those rows. I can have the days of the week and the content that I'm adding below it, and then I'll choose OK. And so now my table is in my text box. Before I go too much farther, I want to click on the text box while I hold down the control button so that I can format the text box. Once again, I want to make this layout style, the wrapping style, tight. And so now that is a tight layout. If I click anywhere in my table and I go to Table, Select Table, I've now selected the whole table, and I want the alignment of the table to be right in the middle of the text box. So I'm going to go to Alignment and Spacing and choose Align Center. So now I've got my table aligned in the text box. Days of the week can go in these sections. And if you press Tab, it will move you from one box to the next. And so you can see how you can add your headings for the days. Now, content can go right below these. So if I would like to say that there's going to be a big test today in science, I've got that in that text box. Now, once I have things in text boxes, I can format them. By double-clicking on the day of the week, I can change the size, so I'm going to kick this up to 16. Going to change the color so that it matches what I've done in the header of my page, so I'm going to choose green. And then I'm going to align this in the center. So I'm leaving this big test today in science aligned to the left, but now I've got the day of the week aligned in the center mode so that it's in the center of those boxes. So I'm keeping the font the same, and I'm changing the color, and I'm putting it into the center. And so this is a way that you can give your newsletter some unity by having the headline parts, the parts that you want to draw attention to, in the same style font. So that gives you an idea of how to get a calendar in there. The other thing that you can do is you can resize this text box, and so I can make that a little bit smaller. And just like I did with the top part of this page, I'd like to get this line on this text box to disappear. So I'm going to click on it. So line, no line. And so now that line has disappeared. And so now I've got a calendar that I can move anywhere I'd like on this page, the same way as those other things. And so I hope that helps you get a few objects laid out into your classroom newsletter, and I hope that makes Microsoft Word behave a little bit more like the Apple Works that you're used to. Thanks for watching.